This video is sponsored by Pouch. Good morning everyone and welcome back to the channel. So hope you've had a lovely weekend. Weather is absolutely beautiful. As you can see, I got a bit burnt. Done over 100 miles at the weekend in the kit car. Just couldn't stay out of it. And then ended up yesterday going to the beach and playing in the sea with the kids for hours. So yeah, top weekend. You'd be glad to know that Isaac's back. He had a couple of days off sick, and then last week he was on holiday, which he did pre-book. I know you're thinking, blimey, he's only been here a month or two, but he's had holiday already, but he did sort of pre-book that when he started, so we'll let him off. But as you can imagine, being 19 years old, it's going to have been a messy one. So we'll go out there and just see how he's getting on. He's doing really well actually this morning, although he's boiling hot, bless him. We've just been talking that he ought to get a pair of shorts. He's still got his trousers on. As you can imagine, week's holiday, 19 years old. Where is it he could have gone? Ibiza? Ayia Napa? Don't know, he's probably feeling a little bit rough. Let's go and see how he is. But guys, before I go into that, let me tell you about today's sponsor, Pouch. Pouch is a free desktop browser extension that automatically finds and applies the best discount codes when you're shopping online. So check this. I needed some parts for an engine we're building. I've gone onto Eurocar Parts and gathered together all the bits I needed for it. Put them in my shopping cart, at which point Pouch went and found 10 discount codes. It then applied them to my cart and saved me a huge saving of £56.16. 37% off. Pouch works with over 3,000 UK sites, including Eurocar Parts, Halfords and QuickFit. Even if there's no live codes available when you're shopping online, you can still earn points from participating retailers, which can be redeemed for gift cards. Pouch only takes a couple of clicks to install, and make sure to pin it to your browser. So, get Pouch free right now by clicking the link in this video's description. And I want to thank Pouch for being a continuous sponsor of Bareham Engines. So here he is, look. He's back off his week's holiday.
Yeah.
Where is it you've been, mate? 19 years old, I bet it was a messy one.
I've been on a canal boat in Wales.
Good man. My kind of holiday these days. As you can see, he's built an engine already. No, only kidding. This is the Golf that's just been thrown back together because he's got to go back on an exchange. So yeah, he's done really well already. It's good to have him back. Nice to see he ain't got COVID. Right guys, this is the Nissan S13. This is the block of the engine that we stripped quite a while ago. It's actually our most successful video. The one that had done 40 miles since a rebuild. Here's all the other bits. See there, the cylinder head. We've gone through that. So this is the one that, as I say, had done 40 miles, had a rebuild. He bought it off his friend who had built it. We did a lot of the machining. It done the crank. It starved of oil somehow. There was bits everywhere. When we stripped it, this was on the first video we did on it. When we stripped it, we found that it was absolutely caked in crap. It looked like it hadn't been cleaned. It had been built but not cleaned. The machining we did on it at the time was we faced the block. I think we just deglazed the bores because we did it for a chap we knew actually originally, and he was going to put it together. The bores measured fine, but he just wanted to put a set of rings in. I think we refaced the head, vacuumed the valves and what have you. The only weird thing is, as I say, we've been through the cylinder head, done the valves and seats and skimmed it again, but the valves and seats were terrible. It was almost, they didn't vacuum very well at all, so it almost like it got hot at some point. But when we would have had it originally, we would have vacuumed the valves and, if they were bad, we would have said. So I can't really remember the full story, but yeah, seems like the head's got a little bit warped. But this is the block. Just give this a little 3 thou lick over and it's cleaned absolutely fine. So there's no problem with the block. The bores I'm going to measure and just deglaze them. But I think what he wants to do is he's going to build this himself or just sell it in bits, but he wants to try and recoup some money because he's gone and bought a second-hand unit, put it in the car. It's in a Mark II Escort because I think these are getting a bit scarce now and they fetch decent money, so he's hoping he can get like a couple of grand for this built up. So we'll stick a bore gauge down the bores and see what they look like. So Isaac's got Volkswagen Golf almost together now. He's done really well actually to get this one together. This was in a million bits, so I say this one's got to go back to Volkswagen on an exchange, which is a bit odd, but as I said, we don't have to time it up or anything like that. The block's scrap anyway, so just got to build it up into a, put all the bits together basically. So he's almost done that, and once he's done that, I'm probably going to get him to have a look at stripping this BMW N52 motor. Although the guy's not in a desperate rush, we need to sort of get that apart and see what we got inside. I don't think there's any horrors with this. It was down on compression, I think, or using oil or breathing or something like that. But it's not, it's not suspect on the crank or anything. So we're going to strip that and see what we got. And also sometime today, I've got to try my hardest to get this all measured up. Now, this is the pre-Crossflow 1500. Get this measured up, see what we've got, and give the guy an estimate on that. It's a very hot one today, guys. Struggling now in the afternoon. Not so bad in the morning, but in the afternoon, I'm wiped out. Almost at the end of the S13 there. I've honed the bores. They seem to go all right. There's about a thou and a half at worst wear in the bores. Not too bad. As I say, I've faced it. So I shall give that a clean up now. I've left a message with the customer on his answering phone to ring me back. So the head we've gone through, that's all good now. The block is, as I say, it's not been bored, but the bores are satisfactory, so it's up to him whether he builds it. The crankshaft, it did do a big end on number 4. We have measured it and it's about a thou and a half under bottom limit. We've stuck it up on the crank grinder and stuck a clock on it, and it doesn't appear to be bent. So that's ideal. So yeah, Isaac's just cleaning the block now. The only thing is, John's just bought 2 new grinding stones, but the smaller one isn't on the wheel yet. So he's got some cranks to grind. Then we're going to swap the wheels over. He's got to dress it and balance the wheel up, and then we'll be able to grind that journal, but that's not going to be for a minute or two. So when the customer rings me back, I'll say, look, you can either get a new crank if you're in a rush, or just hold on and go to the back of the queue and we'll grind it when we've got time. So it's entirely up to him. Right, so had an email. Now, do you remember back, quite a while ago now, I did a video on a chap that received an engine from us, and he sent me videos and complained that the engine was not up to quality because he had a severe oil leak coming out the back of the engine. Now, this was the same chap that once we got the videos of the oil coming out the back, it turns out that the engine was not only not fitted yet, but he'd filled it full of oil, and not only that, he'd removed a bolt out of the flywheel, which is a through hole into the crankcase, and it was peeing oil out of the bolt hole he'd removed. Yes, that guy. I had an email, which I did tell you about a couple of months ago, saying that he's had the engine about 9 months. There's about 9 months, so there's probably 3 months warranty, because this was a full overhaul by us. He's had the engine, he's run it until now, and now it's done an end. It's absolutely scrap. What we're going to do about it? So I emailed him back saying, standard procedure, we want the engine back stripped as you picked it up. We will strip it, measure everything, investigate what the issue is. If there's any uncertainty, we will get an independent engineer in here, and they will sort of second our opinion. If it's something obvious, it's something that we've done, that's absolutely fine. We'll rectify it, no problem whatsoever. Then I didn't hear anything back off him. So we've now been about, I don't know, a couple of months down the line, and he's got back to us saying that he doesn't want to strip it, doesn't want to take it out. He thinks that we could just have the vehicle, sort it out, because it's our problem. And the reason it's our problem, although he hasn't even looked inside, and I'm not sure how he sort of knows that it's our problem, but he seems to think that because it had this oil leak at the back of the engine, it's leaked all its oil out and it's caused an issue with maybe the crank. So I'm not quite sure now how else I can put it to him that the reason he had the oil leak originally is because he took a bolt out the back of the crank and it was leaking oil out of the bolt hole. He doesn't seem to be grasping that. I think he's just trying to sort of get away with taking any responsibility and getting away with any sort of work that needs to be done on his side of the warranty. But baffles me, guys, how some people just don't listen. don't understand and are sort of very unfair, not taking our sort of expertise and our knowledge as advice, really. So yeah, this is an absolute crazy one. I'm just going to have to email him back. It's probably going to get to the point where we maybe have a chat with our solicitor, see where we go, or we just don't say anything and wait for a solicitor's letter from himself. But very odd one, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. But I had another one the weekend, actually. I had an email off somebody, 11 o'clock Saturday night, sends me an email regarding the golf that we did. So this would have been, it wasn't a recon, it was a rebuild. I'm not sure whether I mentioned this one in a video, but it was 30 months ago that we did the engine, and as I say, it was a rebuild. And I remember at the time the chap was not happy about the price of it at the end, so we ended up discounting it, really, just to sort of keep him happy. But it was a rebuild, so what we'll do on a rebuild is, it was a re-ring job, although I have stated to him that we don't do this anymore. I've sent him an email back. We don't do rebuilds anymore, we don't do re-rings. So all we did was go through the cylinder head. We did face the block, but we deglazed the bores, so they obviously measured okay. We didn't grind the crank, we measured it and polished it, so it's the original crank. And he's come back saying that he's done 1,700 miles, and he actually sent us proof via email that he'd done the 1,700 miles since we'd done the engine build. He said he did 500 recently, all in one go, and everything sounds absolutely fine. It's just when it's hot on idle, he's got 5 psi of oil pressure as opposed to 10, he said. So I did speak to him quite a while ago and said, you know, maybe replace your gauge or your sender or stick another gauge on. He seems to think he's done that. I did speak to him a month or two back, he emailed, I think I did say to you guys, and said, look, with all due respect, we hear this all the time, it could be the wrong oil. It's not gonna, if there's anything wrong with the bearings, as in the wrong size bearings, it's not going to do 1,700 miles and sound all right. It's going to sound horrendous. It's going to knock an end out. It's going to either scrap the block or do something. I said, bear in mind, you're saying to us that it was okay before we did the build, as in the way it sounded. He just wanted new parts in it. We haven't ground the crank. We've just polished it. So yeah, not too sure what's going on there. But obviously, I said to him, I'm not sure why you've left it so long to get back in touch with us. But obviously, it's out of warranty. By all means, you can book it in, we can strip it and, you know, go through the routine. And I will send you, so there's no confusion on price this time, I'll send you an estimate as to what it will be to recondition the engine if that's what it needs. But yeah, it's a bit of an odd one. As I say, we've heard these oil pressure stories quite a lot of times in the past, and it tends to be down to something else. You know, the basic internals of the engine, anything really there to create, to sort of change oil pressure would be fairly obvious, I would say, and the engine's not going to do 1,700 miles. Another thing to add is he did replace the oil pump. I think he took it to another garage, and they've put a brand new oil pump on it, and nothing's changed. So it's not the oil pump. As I say, we didn't grind the crank, so it can't be that. If it had the wrong size bearings in, it's not going to do any miles. It's going to sound horrendous. So yeah, not too sure what's going on there, guys, but let me know down in the comments what you think about that. And so yeah, bit of a tough one at the moment. Got to stick to the rules now, otherwise we just end up running people's vehicles for them. So we've had another engine come in, guys. This is off a customer of ours. This is for his work vehicle. Now this is an engine that we did a couple of years ago. It's a Transit engine, 2.4. and nothing to do with what we did. He said it's been running sweet as a nut, but a pipe's come off, it's dumped all his water and he's overheated it. So he sent it in, he wants a recon. So what I might do is ring up and see if we can get an exchange engine. But as you can see, this is the same engine as I've just been going on about in the office, and as you can see here, he's made the mistake of removing all 8 bolts there, and it looks like it's been leaking oil out the back. So well, thanks very much for watching, guys. Remember to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, comment down below, and we'll see you in another video. Remember, guys, download Pouch for free.